Hello, good morning. Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing today? It is a beautiful day. It is a beautiful day. I haven't even had a bite of my breakfast yet, so. Excuse me. Superb. Anyway, how's everyone doing? It is a beautiful day. Hello. I can't believe that America has gotten to this point where our president literally thinks that you need an ID to buy groceries. Like, what the hell? Love from Louisiana. Oh, hello. Are we in NOLA? Are we in New Orleans or just Louisiana area? I just think it's hilarious how our president is so out of touch, and there's a huge cult. There's a sizable cult of America that thinks that he's like the most relatable, best person ever. It's just so fucking stupid. We live in the stupidest timeline possible. Anyway, hello everyone. Good morning. Central Louisiana. Oh, awesome. Awesome. Well, hello. What is it? Marlo Stanley. Hello. And good morning, Cantisa. Good morning, the Effulgent One, Ellie. Good morning. Hello. I'm happy to see you here. Kate, hello. So, okay. Oh my God. Like, okay. So, not only is this, okay, all right. I have a multitude of things to just like to share, okay? And listen, regardless, it's so funny because all of these like Trumpers probably think that, oh, Scott's talking about it because he doesn't like Trump. No, I don't like him. But also, this is our president. If this was Joe Biden, if this was Kamala Harris, if this was anyone, I would be also calling a spade and being like, our president literally just said that groceries is an old-fashioned term. He also even said that affordability is a new term by the Democrats. Affordability, I hadn't heard of it before he said it. Like, oh my God. All right, so anyway, I'm going to hide away the comments here. I appreciate every single one of you. Oh my God, we have so much to get to. Make sure to send some likes. All right. And by the way, I am going to start calling him Zoran Mom Daddy. Okay. I actually came up with that. If anyone has started to say it as well, they might have come up with it on their own. But I, right now, unilaterally here, feel free to take a screen record. I am unilaterally saying right now with my full chest that I am going to be calling him Zoran Mom Daddy, okay? Because listen, he is handsome, he is fine, but that's not the subject of the live stream. But just wanted to say that I actually came up with that last night. Anyway, so while we're talking about news, I just want to point this out here. This has happened in the last few days a couple times, so let me just point it out. Trump is not claiming, our president is not claiming that you need an ID to buy groceries. Okay, pause. Going to the grocery store, there are certain items that you do need an ID for. If you purchase alcohol, or if you purchase tobacco, or certain medications, then yes, you do present an ID. But when you usually hear like the term groceries, you're thinking fruits, vegetables, staple items, meat, stuff like that. You're not necessarily thinking about like your medications or tobacco, or we all know that you have to present an ID for alcohol, but you don't really consider you can say like, oh yeah, I'm going to go get groceries, and then you can throw in a bottle of, wine in there, sure. But like, that's not what you usually think of when you hear groceries. And I don't think that Trump is actually thinking that deep or thinking at all. But this is what he said recently. So let me give the full context here. Yes, let me get out my hands, okay? Y'all make sure to send some likes. All right. We should start tonight with the country's open. Congratulations. Then we should pass voter ID. We should pass no mail-in voting. We should pass all the things that we want to pass. Just not passing kidney stone. I don't like those. I don't like those. You know, I passed so many kidney stones I could repave that driveway over there, but I decided I didn't want to do that. But we could make our election secure. And then he goes on, and says, all we want is voter ID. You go to the grocery store and you have to give an ID. You go to the gas station and you give an ID. But for voting, they want no voter ID. It's only for one reason, and it's because they cheat. They cheat. We would pass that in 15 minutes. Unlike my kidney stone, that takes, 15 hours. But, okay. There's so much here to just cover. It's like, oh my God. Okay, hold on. This onion is so pungent. We have so many layers to peel back. All right, here we go. All we want is voter ID. You go to the grocery store, you have to give an ID. Now, out of all things, let me just unilaterally state that if you go to the grocery store, do you need an ID to buy groceries if you aren't buying alcohol? No. No, you do not. Just in case anyone was wondering. No, you do not need an ID to buy groceries if you are not purchasing alcohol. When you hear the term groceries, you're not thinking of items like alcohol. Usually that's not like your first of mind thing. Like, oh, I'm going to go get groceries, and then you come back with only alcohol. People be like, where are the groceries? So you can include some alcohol in there, and that's, of course, you require having ID for that. It would be silly if you didn't. And illegal, but it would be also stupid. And also tobacco products or other different medications, if you need to present an ID, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But when you hear the term groceries, you're thinking fruits, vegetables, staple items, carbs, and then meat, your staple things to have a meal. So I don't think that Trump actually even understands. Like, he probably thinks that you need to present an ID to buy a pack of bacon. He's like, oh, the bacon, you have to have your ID. You know, this doesn't look like you dyed your hair since the last time you got a nose piercing. I don't know if it's the same person. Now, what's also important was I was like, okay, wait a minute. Are they also talking about food stamps? For the people who are not on food stamps, and you're like, wait, well, do you need an ID to present if you're on food stamps? No, you do not need to show an ID to use the SNAP benefits. Actually, they have their own verification through the EBT card that requires your 4-digit PIN for a transaction. USDA federal rules prohibit retailers from requiring photo ID as a condition to accept SNAP benefits. So for people who are like, oh, well, he just meant the SNAP benefits. No, he didn't. Like, he's just stupid. That's he's just stupid. Okay. Now, in addition to all of that, I just want to give some people's comments, and then I'm gonna. He had a very interesting conclusion about the word groceries. So, but in addition to all of this, he basically said he wanted to ban mail-in ballots. So he's like, mail-in ballots, make it automatically corrupt. Make it automatically corrupt. You know, the mail-in ballots. So they cheat. They cheat doing that. It's like, you can't unilaterally ban mail-in voting for states for state-run elections. Like the state of North Carolina, where I live, or Nebraska, like they have their own state governments. So you can maybe try to ban it federally, but you also have states that are going to be like, no, like we're running our elections our way. Utah has had universal mail-in ballot voting for like the longest time. So that would just be interesting. And this person, I like this, was like, currently I'm in the grocery store checkout line and I don't have my ID. Damn. So I just thought that was kind of funny. Or hear me out, because I know this might sound crazy these days, but how about Republicans stop doing what this old demented idiot tells them to do and instead do things that will help their constituents? That is a crazy bonkers idea. Y'all make sure to send some likes. I appreciate all of you. This person commented, has there ever been a better metaphor for a presidency? And you can see that's probably, that's part of the East Wing that has been demolished. Going forward here, we're like, that's great, but you know, still gonna need those Epstein files. I see lots of comments about like, hey, where are the Epstein files? No mail-in voting, so no active service members or disabled people can vote. Every congressional member will have to fly home to vote. This bozo voted by mail in every election except for the one photo op vote in 2016. So like, he wants to ban himself from voting, I guess. I never had to show my fucking ID at the grocery store. What a total effing moron. Now, again, if you buy alcohol or certain tobacco products or certain medications, then yeah, that makes sense. Of course, you would want to present an ID in that way to fit with standards and the law. But also, like, when you hear the term groceries, you're not thinking automatically alcohol or medications. If you're thinking about groceries, you're thinking food. And I don't think that Trump actually understands that. It's just one of those things that really shows you that he is so out of touch with the American people. And that's not even me being partisan. That's just me being a journalist coming to a conclusion. Like, if this was a Democrat that basically was saying, like, oh, you need an ID to, like, think about it for a second. Just put the shoe on the other foot. Let's say that this was Joe Biden that said that you needed an ID to buy groceries. Republicans, and rightfully so, would be clowning on him endlessly, all the time. They would be in the right. They would. They'd be like, yeah, look at this guy. He's completely out of touch. So when it's the other way around, they're like, no fake news. No, he's the man of the people. Like, are you fucking kidding me? And see, this is the thing. With a lot of MAGA people, it's always this heads I win, tails you lose kind of situation. They don't abide by the same rules that they force upon everyone else. It's very much like, I can do whatever I want, and then everyone has to follow what I want. You know, like, it's anyway. And of course, people's comments were aligned with all of that. This person was like, it's funny because the RNC endorsed mail-in ballots in Pennsylvania during the 2020 election. All Pennsylvanians are eligible to vote by mail, no matter the reason. Voting is easy, convenient, and secure, with secure in bold. And you can see right here, and the Republicans got their asses handed to them. This was the night after the election. So he turns his usual blame game on voter fraud, and no one around him has the balls to inform him that you don't have to show ID when you buy groceries. I also like this comment. And so it begins. The beginning of the end is coming in less than 3 years. The end of Trump and MAGA, the end of tariffs, the end of uncertainty for healthcare, the end of broken government, the end of Americans going hungry, and the end of job losses. I sure hope so. I sure hope so. Democrats, though, like, this was my message earlier, and I will reiterate it again, to the Democrats that won big in all the elections, which is awesome in my personal opinion. So now it's like, okay, voters showed up for Zoran Mamdani. I started that, okay? I'm not gonna lie. I started Zoran Mamdani. Maybe someone else started it at the same time, but I came up with that last night when I was talking with a friend, and I love it because, ooh, if he was single and LGBTQ, I would be massively sliding into those DMs, okay? Anyway, but what was I saying? Oh, geez, I don't even remember now. What was I saying? Geez Louise. Oh, Democrats. All right. So this is my thing. Democrats, obviously, they won really, really big in Virginia and New Jersey, and also races like up and down, all in other states as well. So like, now that Democrats, you won, you have to fulfill. Like, you have to show up. Like, the way Democrats will lose if they don't deliver for results for their people. Because you have voters that come out and say, I'm voting for this. Well, when it comes back time for re-election, don't offer up a laundry list of excuses for why MAGA or Republicans stopped you, or why you didn't fight hard enough for working class people. See, and I'm just saying that out loud. I want Democrats to like see this as, okay, this is the kick in the pants that we need to actually go further left and be more progressive, not just socially, but economically. Tax the wealthy. Use those funds to pay down debt. Use those funds to help working class people achieve prosperity. Do some real structural change where you don't need the super, super wealthy, regardless of your political affiliation, to have so much, whereas the working class, regardless of their political affiliation, have so little. We right now see the biggest amount of income and wealth inequality ever in American history since the Great Depression, since the stock market crash, since the 1920s. We need to see this as an opportunity for Democrats to be like, okay, this is a time for us to fulfill our promise. If you don't fulfill your promise, the voters are going to be like, well, we're going to have to go with someone else because you said you were going to do it and you didn't do it. So for the moderate Democrats that see this as, oh, I can just sit high and dry because we don't have a MAGA Republican, or we don't have Republicans in a certain position. No. This is the kick in the pants that you also need to not just stop here. You need to keep going. Your voters gave you a mandate. So do it. And I'm just saying that because I don't want Democrats to think they have to become just anti-Trump moderates. No. You have to fulfill your job. Public service, being elected means that it's a public service job. So if you make promises, you're expected to fulfill them. So Democrats, now's the time to be like, okay, we got elected, great. Now push for it. Don't shy away from pushing for it. Don't shy away from pushing for justice for working class people. Not just rhetorically speaking, not just socially progressive, but economically structural change. Stuff that actually helps working class people. And that benefits everyone regardless of your political affiliation. If you are MAGA, it doesn't matter. If you're working class, progressive economic policies help you. Anyway. Just wanted to share that here. I see a super chat, so let me make sure to read the super chat. Oh, thank you, C-Bar. You're awesome. C-Bar is a good friend of the live stream. So I just wanted to... I prefer the Frog Pants podcast version of Scott Johnson. What in the world? I don't understand. What? Huh? Frog Pants. I don't know what you're... Anyway. Oh, geez, where was I? But yeah, so this is another thing about groceries that I found just bizarre and hilarious, okay? Trump bizarrely calls groceries an old-fashioned term. Huh? He's calling it an old-fashioned term? This is not the first time either. Like, this is, wait, hold on. He's calling groceries, what you go to the grocery store to get, an old-fashioned term. Well, let's also just pause here. Is it old-fashioned for who? Who is making that definition? Like, oh, it's an old-fashioned term. When you share an opinion, it's always going to be relative. If I say that a certain word is an old-fashioned term, it's like, okay, well, is it old-fashioned to you? Is it old-fashioned in general? Is it old-fashioned based on a historical era? Like, but groceries is a word that is we use it all the time. I think if you use a word quite often in society, it doesn't become an old-fashioned term. I shouldn't have to say this kind of silly, like, deductive reasoning that is just embedded in American culture out loud. Yet we have an idiot and a moron in the White House, so yeah, he thinks it's an old-fashioned term. If Joe Biden, if Kamala Harris, if anyone said that groceries is an old-fashioned term, I'd be like, why are you so out of touch? Trump says it, and all these MAGA people are like, yeah, he's our man. You're a fucking idiot, okay? I used to be MAGA. I was raised that way. It's a cult. Get out now. They teach you to not think for yourself at all. Look at the facts and be like, ooh, yeah, that actually isn't a good thing. He's calling groceries an old-fashioned term. What the hell? What the hell? And it's even worse. It's even worse because he literally said they have this new word. There's this new word called affordability, and Republicans don't talk about it enough. And Democrats did it, and, they made it up, and because we took over a mess. He's saying that affordability is a new term? It's a new word? New for who? New for whom? What the hell? Affordability might be a new term for you because you're a rich, whiny little billionaire that is president. But, like, Huh? How are you saying that affordability is a new term? It's not a new word. Just because you, as a whiny billionaire, could point at something and be like, yes, sir. Oh, thank you, I appreciate it. You know, I wanted to pick out 4 jets, but you know, I wanted to pick out 4 jets, but I only got 3. It reminds me of that scene, like, from Harry Potter. How many are there? 36. Counted them myself. 36. But last year I had 37. Like, oh my God. Trump is saying that the word affordability is a new word. It might be new to him because he is super, super wealthy and he's never had to make a budget that where he's constricted in that in his life. Like, new for you, not for the rest of us working class people. If you are a working class MAGA Republican, I sure hope that you are offended by this. You deserved to be offended by this. If you are a struggling middle class, working class person just trying to live paycheck to paycheck, I am working class myself. I hope that you are offended by this because even if you hate my guts or call me an F slur, okay, you deserve a living wage. We don't have to be friends. We don't have to be friends at all, okay? You don't have to like me. You don't have to like my voice, my appearance. I don't fucking care, okay? But let's also just point out, like, I'm never going to vote to take away your healthcare. I'm never going to vote to take away the ability for you to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I'm not going to try and dismantle your union or your ability to keep yourself safe. Like, no. So, all that being said, you deserve better than Donald Trump. Maybe, I guess you don't. I guess you're a glutton for punishment and you really like putting in place someone that says that the word affordability is a new word. Like, what the hell? Like, seriously, like, what in the world? What in the world? And he also said that groceries is an old-fashioned word, but it's a beautiful word. No, there are words that are old-fashioned, but groceries is not one of them. Groceries is not one of them. But what's also just funny is he's like, I don't want to hear about affordability. Our groceries are way down. Everything is way down. So I don't want to hear about affordability. You're the president of the United States. It is your job to tackle the economy, to do what you can, to work with Congress and the other branches of government to create a government for all people. You don't have the luxury, Mr. President, of not wanting to tackle affordability when we are in the midst of inflation and affordability being a key problem that Americans, regardless of your political affiliation, are focused on. What the actual fuck? See, this is the thing. Americans, maybe I guess we deserve Donald Trump because he's a fucking stupid moron. Like, seriously. If this was a Democrat saying this, I would also be out here being like, look, this is why Democrats aren't doing well, blah, 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 blah. I'd be like, this is stupid. This shows you're out of touch. When Joe Biden was quoted saying that he said, now go out and lick the world. Do you all remember him saying that? He had some interesting things that he said. I covered it on TikTok, where I used to do my live streams on TikTok. I covered it. I'm like, what in the world? I was like, and I looked it up, I'm like, it's an old-fashioned phrase. That's an old-fashioned phrase, is to go out to lick the world. It's supposed to mean, like, the world is your oyster, go and do what you want. But seriously, like, if you are someone that is making excuses for Donald Trump when you're hearing this, you deserve better. Or maybe, I guess you don't, and you're a glutton for punishment, and you want America to keep going downhill by electing fascistic authoritarian wannabes like Trump. But seriously, like, I hope that you look at this and you're like, I hope that you are offended. Because Trump doesn't care about you. He's the kind of guy that would piss on you and then tell you it's raining. And you would start gug that shit. No. Like, seriously. Anyway, it's Friday, so I don't have any shits to give. And so, an old-fashioned term that we use, groceries. I used it on the campaign. It's such an old-fashioned term, but it's a beautiful term, groceries. It says a bag with different things in it. He doesn't even know. He's like, it's groceries is a bag. Maybe it has a cheese. Maybe it has some bread. Maybe it has a tomato. But let me tell you, it's fantastic. Groceries. Groceries 2025. That was, of course, earlier in the year, April. But also, he recently also said it to, there was one voter in North Carolina, in the Greensboro area, that said, hey, Mr. Trump, like, I voted for you, quote, I want Republicans to keep control, but something has to be done fast. I don't see the best economy. Wall Street numbers do not reflect Main Street money. Please do something. That's a very, very factual statement from a Republican voter. Yes, Wall Street numbers do not reflect Main Street money. That's a very, very solid like deduction, analysis from a Trump voter. And they're like, please do something about affordability. And he basically says, I think of groceries. It's an old-fashioned term. We've got to get down, but a lot of things have gone down. He said, a lot of groceries have gone down. That was literally his response, was like, oh, it's already down. And so the way that Trump talks about groceries like they're a relic of the past says a lot about how far removed he is from ordinary life. Dear Donald Trump, groceries is an old-fashioned word. Groceries is an old-fashioned word for you. Americans buy groceries every day at places we call grocery stores. You were elected to make groceries cheaper, not to wax poetically on a word that is old to you because you've never fucking been to a grocery store. Seriously though, like, it shows how out of touch he really is. In MAGA, to the MAGA Republican voters that are seeing this and feel like you have to lick the souls of this man, you don't have to. It's okay. You have permission to escape from that MAGA bandwagon. It is a cult. You deserve better. You really do. Unless, I guess you don't, and you're a glutton for punishment. I used to be MAGA. I was raised that way. I was raised in a very Christian, conservative Southern home. Let me tell you, it is a scam. MAGA is a scam. He uses you for you to buy 47 shirts, 15 yard signs saying all Trump on it. Trump 2028 even. Like, what the fuck? Like, he uses you as a gold mine for endless amounts of money from merchandise. He uses you as a population that he can control to tell you what to think, not giving you the opportunity to think for yourself. If you and I look at the same set of facts and we come to different conclusions, okay, great. That's fine. I'm going to say that you're wrong about your conclusion, but that's the thing. That's the thing. The facts are not up for debate. Your interpretation based on the facts, the science, the data, the statistics, that's fine. If you and I have a different interpretation of an action plan on how to tackle an issue, okay. But what's not up for debate are the facts, the objective reality. Donald Trump, what he does is he tries to take that objective reality and just completely throw it out the window and make it his own desired wannabe wish list. That's what he does. We're not even living in the same America because we can't agree on the same facts. But it's the thing. You don't agree on facts. It's just, that's what it is. And so that's the thing. If you are a part of that cult, it's okay. You can move on. Just because you've invested so much money into buying MAGA merchandise and always voted red doesn't mean you have to continue doing that. I hope that you have a fiber of self-awareness to think critically for yourself. You don't have to come to the same conclusion as me. Okay, that's fine. But, like, you should be looking at this and being like, a president says that affordability is a new term and that groceries is an old-fashioned term, and then says we don't need to talk about affordability anymore. You deserve better. You deserve a president that is not going to make those kinds of comments. I would be having this exact same conclusion if this was Joe Biden, if this was Kamala Harris, if this was Pete Buttigieg, if this was Oprah. Because it's not about him being a Republican. It's about the person in that position doing crackpot things. Like, I certainly hope that we as Americans can all look at this and be like, this is crazy. This is crazy. We deserve better than a president who literally thinks that affordability is a new term. If you are like watching this live and you are like vibing and understanding my energy, then just make sure to send some likes, okay? Because I have the comments turned off because I get so much like hate and people that try to make everything about my sexuality, which is weird and creepy. But I appreciate every single one of you. If you're enjoying the live stream, make sure to like the stream. I won't be on for too much longer, but I did want to cover a couple other comments. I thought this was funny. Groceries. I haven't heard that term in years. Next week, an old-fashioned term we used to have: shoes. You wear them on your feet. Incredible. That is so funny. You know, I heard about this thing called a vehicle. A vehicle, it's an old-fashioned term. A vehicle, you know, it's something that we've not seen in years. You know, we have an old-fashioned term, McDonald's. Like, there's an actual real chance he's never shopped at a grocery store in his entire life. I believe he has gone in one. I saw something about him doing that, but like, if you have to question whether he has been or not, that really shows you how out of touch he is. Like, it really does. And there's a couple other people that left comments that were very similar to this. I just thought this was so funny, and I was like, it's Friday, so I'm going to cover it. But yeah. Whew. All right. I have to go here in just a couple minutes, but I did want to give a quick little reminder on what the whole government shutdown is about. So the government has been shut down for a while. It's been shut down for a while. Right now, Republicans and Democrats cannot come to an agreement on something called an appropriations bill. An appropriations bill simply just means it's a spending bill. All right. Congress, our House of Representatives, Federal House of Representatives, and the Senate cannot come to an agreement on passing this appropriations bill, basically allocating money. The word appropriations comes from like allocating, like giving it, like, oh, we're going to appropriate this much money for defense, or this much for education, or this much for agriculture. So right now, the reason the government is shut down is simply because they can't come to an understanding on an appropriations bill for healthcare. And the reason I want to cover that is just because this has gone on for a really long time. And the main reason that you see this government shutdown is simply because Republicans and Democrats cannot come to an agreement on whether to continue subsidies for low-income people through the Affordable Care Act. That's simply what the whole government shutdown is about. I'm not here to tell you if it's good, bad, whatever. I'm just simply laying out the facts. So Congress has failed to pass legislation funding government operations specifically for healthcare. That's why the government is partially shut down. Now, in order to pass an appropriations bill, you need 60 votes. Well, right now, the Senate is split between 53 Republicans, 45 Democrats, and 2 independent senators that often caucus with Democrats. So if you're going to pass an appropriations bill, you need 60 votes. You need 60 votes. So that means if you pass a Republican version, that you need the 53 Republicans along with 7 Democrats, or 6 Democrats and an independent, or 5 Democrats and 2 independents. Well, if the Democrats want to pass an appropriations bill, then they need 15 Republicans, or 14 Republicans and 1 independent, or 13 Republicans and 2 independents. That all being said, the main discrepancy at hand here is something called healthcare subsidies. Subsidies is basically assistance given by the government to individuals or businesses. So the subsidies that are at hand are that are in question are healthcare subsidies for low-income people on the Affordable Care Act. That's simply what the whole government shutdown is about. Republicans and Democrats cannot agree on whether to continue assistance given by the government to low-income and middle-class people for their health care. So what this looks like in practice here, let's say that you owe your health insurance $800 a month. If you are a low-income person or middle class, and this is your bill, and if you qualify for the specific subsidies, what it does is, hey, it is a government subsidy that goes through and is like a coupon. It's like a discount. So it's means tested for people who are middle class, lower class, working class. So it basically gives you a discount. So the amount that you pay each month ends up being much lower. Well, right now, there's a specific subsidy that says, all right, that one of the subsidies that's in question is an 8.5% cap on your premiums. Your premium, your healthcare premium, is basically the amount that you pay for your health insurance each month. So let's say that your premiums are capped at 8.5% because you qualify to be on these subsidies. Let's say you make $45,000 a year. What that means is that you cannot pay more than 8.5% of all of your money on your health insurance. So that means that the max that you pay is $5,294, or if you divide that by 12 months, $441 a month. Right now, Republicans want to get rid of this subsidy. Democrats are saying, no, we do not want to get rid of this subsidy. Democrats are saying, if we get rid of this subsidy, then that means that a lot of low-income, middle-class, working-class people who currently have discounts for their healthcare through the government because they don't earn enough in their day-to-day life and are struggling with inflation and all the cost of living and affordability, we want to keep this subsidy in place. Republicans are saying, no, we don't want to keep that subsidy in place. And so the government has effectively shut down because Republicans want to get rid of it, and Democrats are saying we want to keep it in place. That's simply what the whole shutdown is about. This is not going to be for everyone. And I want to point out that these subsidies are only go to American citizens. So one thing that Republicans often talk about is, oh, well, this goes to undocumented immigrants. All of this goes to illegal aliens, undocumented people. No. In order to qualify for these types of programs, you have to be an American citizen. And like with your health insurance subsidies, if you're getting Medicare, Medicaid, there's only a small provision of Medicaid that goes to undocumented people. I've done endless live streams about how much money actually goes into emergency Medicaid, which is a program that was signed into place by Ronald Reagan called EMTALA. And also, undocumented immigrants pay a lot of money into Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, unemployment, but because they're not American citizens, they don't have legal status, they don't actually have the ability to apply and receive the benefits of that. That all being said, Republicans are saying that this money goes to undocumented immigrants, even though there's no evidence to show that, and that's what the whole shutdown is really about. Just to give you a little bit in a nutshell. It's an unsexy topic of healthcare funding. That's really what it is. And if you repeal this subsidy, if you get rid of the subsidy, what that means is that health insurers can charge you whatever they want, which is what people are already starting to see. So they can charge, $882 a month or even $1,000. There's no government subsidy put in place to help low-income people. That's what this whole government shutdown is about. Simply the reason the government is shut down is because Democratic senators are refusing to cave or capitulate into Republicans' demands to cut healthcare subsidies for low-income and middle-class people. That's simply what this is about. Period, end of story. Now, I have to get to work. I hope that explanation was helpful because we've been in a shutdown for a while and people are like, wait, why are we in a shutdown again? That's what the whole thing is about. I work really, really hard to produce this content before I go into work because I'm a working class girly. So if you enjoyed this live stream, please smash that subscribe button. Shout out to all of my amazing moderators who manage the space and keep it safe for everyone. If you're someone that comments things that are just unhelpful, then yes, you will be banned. Sorry. It is just a thing. If you're being rude and obnoxious, you will face the consequences. Cool. I appreciate every single one of you. Even if you don't like me, okay, I believe in spreading love, peace, and understanding. I hope that you enjoyed the live stream. I want to start doing this thing where I post parts of the live stream to as videos. I want to start to do that. Would you all watch them if that was the case? I hope you would. But anyway, I need to get to work. I appreciate every single one of you. Shout out to my amazing moderators. Ilisa, Cantisa, Ellie, Akicha, Cherie, Joanna Tech, Jenny, Kate. I love all of you so much. So Anyway, I appreciate every single one of you. Just remember that you are beautiful, you are loved, you are valid, you are strong, and you are fierce. Don't let anyone or anything ever dim your shine. I love